So, in the past couple of weeks, I've really been thinking about my mentality, or the way I think about things, the way I approach things, the way I view things, the way I think about myself, the way I talk about myself. And it takes me back to when I was a kid, and I would always hear adults around me, my parents, my uncles, my aunts, always say things like, guard your thoughts. It's important to think positively about yourself. It's important to be mindful of what you think and what you say about yourself, about what you say about others, because that those things can happen. It can your words have so much power. The things you say can actually happen. And as a kid, you never really take those kind of things seriously, because it's just like, oh, adults are just talking. They're just being adults, right? I'm just a kid. I'm not worried about any of this. But as I got older and I started to build more relationships and I talked to more people and I try to understand where people come from, or how they think about themselves, or how they think about life, or just everything in general, I started to realize that everything I was hearing as a kid was making sense. Like, it was accurate. These they weren't just saying things to say them. They said it with meaning. Like, it actually meant something. And now, in the past couple of weeks, I've been thinking about, especially myself, just the way I've kind of lived the last couple of years. A lot of it has been because of the way I think. And I'm not just saying positively, because negative things have happened because of negative thoughts, negative approaches to things. And I learned a couple of things, right? Before I get to any of those things, please, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I appreciate all of you subscribing. Please continue to subscribe. If you like this video, leave a like on the video. If you have any thoughts, please comment your thoughts below. And just continue to build this community. I really appreciate you guys. The first thing, what I decide to do, or what we decide to do, or what we decide to accept in our lives, right? The number one thing I've realized about myself in the last couple of years is you have to, well, myself, let me say I have to be mindful of the things that I accept, right? Be mindful of the things that I allow people to say, or allow people to do, or allow a company to say, or allow a company to do, or whatever. Relationships, platonic, romantic. I have to be mindful of what I'm willing to accept, because what I'm willing to accept determines how I view about myself, determines that, right? So if I don't think of myself in a high manner, not like in a boastful or vain or anything like that, but if I don't think of myself in that light, then I'm willing to accept any kind of behavior towards me. I'm willing to accept what anybody does towards me, right? And it's something that I think is so important, especially when we talk about self-esteem, people having self-esteem issues, or people having, the way they view themselves is so negative. I think it's so important for people to understand why they need to view themselves in a certain way, because that's what you're going to accept from the world in every single situation, every single scenario. How you view yourself determines what you accept or what you're comfortable with, right? And also, what are you willing to put up with, right? I remember there's a story in the Bible about a king named Hezekiah, right? And he was supposed to die, but he asked for 15 more years, and God granted him 15 more years of life, right? This is in the book of Isaiah. I think it's also in 2 Kings, but I'll put it up there so you guys can see. But what are you willing to accept in your life? Are you willing to just be okay with, okay, I'm going to die tomorrow. I'm going to die tomorrow. Or are you going to ask for 15 more years, right? Obviously, that's an extreme example. Not everybody has an example like that, but I've heard a lot of people say things like, I was just tired of accepting what was happening to me. I was just tired of living the life I was living. And I told myself, I'm tired of it. It's enough. And they changed their mentality. They changed the way they approached life, changed the way they viewed themselves, and they changed the way life was happening to them, right? What are you willing to accept? What are you willing to do about it? That's number one. Number two, training my thoughts. Like, every time a negative thought comes into my head, I have to train my mind consistently to avoid dwelling on negative thoughts, right? I'm not saying like negative thoughts cannot happen, or I can't, something can't trigger me, or that's perfectly fine. But allowing myself to dwell on the negative thoughts, on the negativity, on the negative things that have happened to me does nothing for me, right? I talked about this in a previous video about how thinking negatively has never done anything for me, like, good in my life, right? What am I willing to do about it? There's a Bible passage that talks about, as a man thinks, that's what he does, right? Proverbs 23:7. As a man thinks, that's what he does. If I don't think positive things, I'm not gonna do positive things. If I don't think I'm gonna be exceptional in this thing, then I will never be exceptional in this thing. If I don't think I can succeed in this thing, then I'm literally not going to succeed in this thing. I watch so many successful people when they speak, and all they talk about, most of the things they talk about is, I thought it. Like, I thought I could do it. I thought I was capable of doing it. It's never, oh, I was the smartest, or I was the most intelligent, or I was the most talented. Half of these people just say things like, I thought I could do it. I wanted it and I went and got it. Right? So I have to remind myself every single time, don't think you're not capable of doing something. Don't think you're not enough to do something. Don't think that because of the limitations that somebody else has put on you or put on your life, that you're not able to accomplish X, Y, Z. Right? It all starts from what you think about yourself. If you think that you're capable of doing something, then you're already halfway to being able to do that thing. Right? Because let's say I want to do something and I have no experience in it, I have no skill in it, I have no talent in it whatsoever. But if I believe I can do it, I'm already halfway there. That's gonna push me to want to learn about the thing. That's gonna push me to want to increase my level of aptitude in the thing, because I believe it. But if I never believe that I can do it, then I'll never pursue, the skills. I'll never pursue it to begin with. So that's the second thing that I've kind of been thinking about the most, is training my thoughts to accomplish different things, accomplish different goals, right? Sometimes I hear people say things like, "Oh, how do you do this? How do you do?" Like my marathon. I never used to run 2 years ago. I could hardly run a mile 2 years ago, right? I talked about post-COVID and how graduating and all this stuff affected me, and I kind of just let it happen or whatever. But I could never run for long distances 2 years ago. Now people say, "Oh, how can you run this?" So I saw somebody else do it, and I was like, I can do that too. It motivated me. I never told myself, "Oh, I'm not capable of doing that." And now people say things like, "Oh, man, I could never run 5." Why not? Why are you not able to do that? If you want to do it, you can do it. But you have to train your mind to push yourself. I think that's the number one thing. A lot of us are uncomfortable with pushing ourselves to challenging things, or pushing ourselves to new, different things, uncomfortable situations, uncomfortable positions. We just want to do what makes us comfortable, what makes us feel safe, what makes us not have to push ourselves or stretch ourselves to a different level than we had before. Right? We just want to do what's comfortable, because comfortable is, you feel at peace with comfort, right? But when you start pushing yourself to things that you've never done before, or that are challenging you, you're not, it's not peaceful. It's not comfortable. You don't feel great about it. But when you get to that point, when you start achieving it and seeing the results, you start to feel better about it, right? It's like working out. I never want to work out. Let me say this. I never enjoy having to work out, right? I wish my body would just be chiseled and I wouldn't have to do anything. The first 5 minutes, I'm always like, dang, I don't want to run. I don't want to. But within 10, 15 minutes, I'm like, this isn't so bad. It's just getting up and doing it. That's the hardest part. And I think that's something that a lot of people have to remember. Nobody's saying you have to be good at the thing in the beginning. No one's saying you have to be talented. No one's saying you have to XYZ. But just push yourself and you'll be able to do it. Train your mind to tell yourself that you're capable of all these things, and you will slowly become capable of all these things. Number 3, emotions. I think one of the things that has hurt me the most in my life is not being able to control my emotions, or not being able to kind of guard my emotions, right? Or kind of feeling like a slave to my emotions at times, right? One of the major things about me is I get irritable. And I start to shut down, right? Which is a bad habit that I've been slowly like unwinding over the years, just trying to get rid of it over the years, right? But so many people give into their emotions. They give into and it's the negative emotions too. The negative emotions, whether it's sadness, whether it's feeling of loss, or feeling of depression, or feeling whatever the feeling is. So many of us give into those emotions, and we don't allow ourselves to feel it and then move past it. We allow ourselves to feel it and internalize it and make it our own and make it who we are. And I always tell myself, like, I want to think about peace all the time. I want to think about joy. Obviously, things are going to happen that are going to kind of sway my emotions and make things fall flat or whatever. But for the most part, I want to think and dwell on the positive emotions. I want to think those things. If I'm thinking about joy on a consistent basis, the things that bring me joy, thinking about being content, thinking about just positive emotions, right? Like I said, things are going to happen. You're not going to be happy every single day, every single hour of every single day. But I want that to be my number one mindset, is thinking about the things of joy. Even when things are going bad, what is good in my life right now? What can I actually smile about, right? I think one of the things that kind of holds people back is that they never allow themselves in the tough times to think about the good times, right? There's this thing where people will say they have like, they're feeling sad and then they play sad music. To me, like, everyone can do what they want to do, but I've never understood the concept of, I'm already sad, let me listen to more sad music to make myself sadder, right? Can I listen to some uplifting music to make myself feel better? To kind of like I said about training your thoughts, put myself back in that mindset of, okay, this bad thing has happened, this sad thing has happened, but there's still this joyful thing that I can think about. There's still a joyful moment, joyful memory, all these positive things I can think about to like remove the negative feelings. Because I truly believe I'm in control of my emotions. I can control my feelings. I can take myself out of negative things and put myself into positive situations, right? Something I'm working on, right? Not being so irritable, not being so, controlled by my emotions, or just like diving into an emotion, allow myself to kind of be more level-headed on a consistent basis. 4, our memories, our past, our traumatic experiences, the bad things that have happened to us, so many of us allow that to be like, define us, to be who we are, right? I hear so many people when I talk to them, and they talk about their lives and their upbringing and how their parents are divorced, or how, a parent cheated on another parent, or XYZ. And it's kind of like clouded their judgment on relationships as a whole. Like, oh, whoever I fall in love with, they're going to do the same thing that my dad did to my mom, or my mom did to my dad, or whatever. They never want to accept that what happened in the past is the past. Like, it doesn't have to happen to them now. It doesn't have to be the future. It doesn't have to be who they define themselves as, right? I hear so many people talk about traumatic experiences in relationships, or whether it's school, bad things happen in school and they were bullied, and they've allowed themselves to never see themselves like in a positive light, right? You always got bullied for being ugly. You always got bullied for this. And I'll hear some people that are very like conventionally attractive, right? But they don't have the confidence, they don't have the self-esteem or whatever, because of what happened to them as a kid, because of what people said about them as a kid. Maybe they were big as a kid and they lost weight, or just whatever the situation is. They allow what happened 10, 15 years ago to define them. And look, as somebody that had things, happen as a kid, I can understand where that comes from. I can understand, but we have to get to a point where we stop feeling a slave to our past, or feeling a slave to our trauma, and allow and like free ourselves from that mindset, free ourselves from those thoughts of, oh, people always said I wasn't enough as a kid, then I'm not going to be enough as an adult. No. At a certain point, we have to take control of our lives, take control of our past more than anything, make peace with our past, and move forward, and understand that whatever happened, it doesn't have to be our fault. It doesn't have to be, but we don't have to make it our own. We don't have to make it who we are as people, right? We can free ourselves from those situations. And that, I think, to me is the number one thing, because I see, especially in my 20s, a lot of people, who they are is heavily defined by who they were as a kid. Their experiences with their parents, with their siblings, their experiences in school, their experiences in education, their experiences in sports, whatever. So many people are so disciplined because of having a sports background, right? So what people experience as a kid plays such a big role in who they are, especially in their 20s, right? Where you like form who you're going to be, or kind of form who you are as a person. And so many people are allowing what happened in the past to define who they are now, right? And it's funny because in the generation that we live in now, it's always like we have to hold people's past against them. We have to whatever you did in the past 5 years, even if you apologize for it, even if you're sorry for it, even if you've changed who you are, people still want to label you as your past, right? It's such a like damaging mentality or damaging way of thinking, where people think, oh, because of your past, that's who you have to be forever. No, like there's so many years of life. God willing, we all live to a certain, the expected ages, 70 to 90, whatever it is. I don't want to forever be defined at 60 for something I did when I was 25. You know what I'm saying? Like I consistently evolve, I consistently change as a person and improve and whatever. Don't hold me back to who I was 25 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, right? You wouldn't want somebody, just think about it. If you're a millionaire at 30, are you going to want people to refer to you as the broke person you were at 18? You don't want, no. So stop using the everything that happened to you to define who you are today, right? You're not the same person you were 10, 15 years ago. So don't allow what happened all those years back to define you. And even if it's been 2-3 years, right? Like I said about the negative experiences and negative thoughts and negative mindsets, thinking negatively, we're allowing those things to kind of hold us back, to cloud our judgment, cloud our perception of ourselves. And it's one of the biggest things that I dislike seeing, especially in today's social media age, is people holding themselves back because of what was said to them, what was done to them, or what they experienced or what they saw. You're more than your past. You can allow yourself to be free from your past. You can allow yourself to forgive the past. Number one reason for why I say a lot of these things is because a lot of the traumatic things people go through, it's not your fault. Like you're not the culprit. You're not guilty of these things that happened in your past, in your childhood, in your whatever. You're not responsible for them. So why do you hold yourself responsible for all these things years later? You're not responsible for your parents divorcing. You're not responsible for a parent cheating on another parent. You're not responsible for the abuse you saw as a kid. You're not responsible for the bullying you experienced as a kid. You're not responsible for any of these things. So stop holding the responsibility on yourself in your adulthood. Stop holding yourself responsible for the things that you experienced that weren't your fault as a kid, right? And even if some of these things were your fault, allow yourself to forgive yourself. Allow yourself to move on. Allow yourself to make peace with what happened and carry on with your life, because it's holding back so many positive things that can happen in your life today. And those are the 4 things that kind of been on my mind really for the last couple of weeks. It's just thinking about those things. Allow yourself to think positively about yourself in all areas, right? What are you gonna do? What do you decide to do? What do you decide to think? What do you decide to allow yourself to put up with? What are you training your mind to do? What are you training your mind to think? What are you training yourself to be? How do you train your emotions? What do you think about yourself? When things aren't going your way, when things are negative, how do you bring yourself back up? Have you forgiven yourself for what happened in the past? Have you made peace with your past? Are you finally able to move forward and progress with your life? These are questions I think we all have to answer on a daily basis, right? Things are going to trigger us and make us think this, and that. But we have to remind ourselves on a consistent basis to guard our minds, guard the way we think about ourselves, guard the way we think about life in general. And I truly, truly believe that once we do that on a consistent basis and guard against any attacks against our psyche or against our mentality, against the way we view ourselves, then we'll overall have a much better quality of life. But yeah, that's where I've kind of been at the last couple of weeks. But I'm glad, I've been able to kind of verbalize this the way I intended to. Thank you guys for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Like I said, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you like this video, leave a like. If you have any comments, comment below. And I will see you guys very, very soon. God bless you. Have a blessed day.